Hi, we'd like to welcome Bill Macdonald, who's been involved in autism for a very, very long time. Bill, can you tell us how you got involved in the world of autism?
Certainly, I'm the parent of a child on the spectrum. Aiden is now 18 years old. He got diagnosed at just before he was 4, so pretty common time for diagnosis. So we've been involved, as has every parent been, for some time ever since the day of that diagnosis in some capacity.
Wow. And what brought you into the Canucks Autism Network?
Well, really, that was a lucky set of circumstances from a mutual friend of mine who was familiar with the organization and familiar with the founder, Paolo Aquilini. Paolo's had a son on the spectrum, which is how Canucks Autism Network got founded in the first place. And this mutual friend said, "You've got to get to know Paolo. You knew that my son was on the spectrum." So we met a long time ago, hit it off tremendously, and he told me about Ken. And the Canucks Autism Network was such a unique organization in that it provided educational, well, social, primarily recreational opportunities for kids that just didn't have that. There was no resources for that that we could find anywhere. So Paolo, to his credit, saw that and started this organization. So when I saw it, I was so blessed that I could find this group of people, and with the support system and these programs where they didn't exist anywhere else, because every kid needs to have a chance to socialize, to participate in sports, to be a member of a team, regardless of their level of ability. So I really was fortunate to get introduced to Paolo. He got me on the board about 10 years ago, and I've been chairman of the board for 3 years now. So it's become a big part of our lives and our family, either as the chairman, or my son Aiden as a participant, or my older son as a volunteer. So it's grown exponentially over the years, and thankfully we're reaching a lot more families, a lot more programs around the province, and that's how I got involved, and why I'm staying involved, is because we are, I think, creating a lot of positive environments for kids and their families in the province for resources that they don't otherwise have at no cost to the family.
And how did you get from there to getting involved in this whole new technological world with virtual reality?
Well, I think, like a lot of parents going through traditional educational and therapy process, once you get the diagnosis, I found a lot of frustrations with the system, a lot of inefficiencies. There's a crazy cost that were associated to therapy and access to therapy. And in the back of my mind, I'd always thought there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a way to democratize this process, to make it more accessible, more cost affordable, make it because this problem knows no boundaries. This problem doesn't differentiate from language or location or anything. So how with technology can we address some of these things? But I'm not a technological guy. I'm a corporate lawyer by trade. But luckily, I got introduced to my partner, my co-founder, who is a tech entrepreneur and also had a son on the spectrum. And he had a vision that we could solve a lot of these problems through the right use of the right technology, primarily virtual reality and artificial intelligence. So when I met with Alex, we were two sides of the same coin. We had the similar experiences, the same frustrations, the same dissatisfaction with the current set of circumstances and the current path for these kids. But me, instead of just being frustrated about it, he's had a vision for how to address these problems. And using the right technology, now that it had caught up to what his vision was, that we can make this a much better system, process, path for these kids and their families with the application of the right technology. So we can make it more cost effective, more accessible, more consistent, better early intervention, and continuity of care as they grow and our system and our platform grows with them. So the short story is, I was just lucky to meet the right guy at the right time with a similar story, with a similar vision, but he was able to implement it. And then I've luckily been a co-founder and going along for the ride and trying to grow the project with him. And now we're at a very exciting tipping point in getting to the market and getting to help some of these families with this.
Great.
That is so exciting.
Where do you see it going from here? What's your plan for the future of Akiva?
Well, I think the plan is that there's really no limit to it. So the plan now is to really have a resource for families when they get that initial diagnosis and they're cast adrift, and where do I go? What do I do? What resources do I have? We want to at least be something that they can plug into easily, quickly, readily, cost efficient, so they can get speech therapy, get behavioral therapy, get some of those early intervention things going while they're maybe building up their home team and building up the therapist system and all those things that take time. That take time and cost, and there's inefficiencies, and you don't know how long it's going to take when you could be doing something right away. And what you're starting with us with Akiva, then you may start that right away, but it's going to evolve with your child. So it's not something that's just there and help you get going. It's there to grow with your child as well. So from that initial diagnosis, early intervention, and then to grow with the child all the way through, ideally, them into being teens and young adults and needing help on social emotional side, vocational training, potentially helping with employers integrate onto our platform to do that. So we really want to bookend the needs of these kids from the early stage intervention, help with the families right through to their adult life. But right now we don't have so many resources, so that's the big vision. But right now the focus is on helping families with that early intervention to get that care right away in a very easy to use, easy to understand platform, that fits within any budget, and something so they can just get going and get something in place and see some progress right away. So there's some hope for them that my child is not going to be nonverbal forever. We have a path to get there with our platform.
I love that vision. Like right now, it's designed to help children and then young teens learn how to function in the world. And then your later vision is literally the potential to give them work experience in a safe environment where they don't feel overwhelmed, overloaded, stressed out. In a familiar virtual world, they can actually perhaps try out different jobs so that they can see which one suits them.
Absolutely. So to provide educational therapy in a nurturing environment, in a safe space for them where they're comfortable, and to do the same on a vocational training platform. So they can do that in that environment where it's something that by then they've certainly become familiar with, and it's a safe space, and it's something where they can really realize their potential without having to deal with the external outside world interaction right away. So they can ease into this, so they can really get the best chance possible to succeed at whatever that task might be.
It must be very exciting to be at the forefront of a technology as it changes the world. The world is changing the meta.
Yeah, I can't really see a lot of other companies out there that are doing it in this space. You've got educational software companies, educational hardware companies, but I really don't see any that are bringing those together to assist the neurodivergent community. And I guess because of the founders, because that's where we're coming from, and that's our background. So hopefully it's the right set of circumstances for us and for the industry and for the participants that we are leading edge on this. And hopefully that changes lives, changes opportunities, changes a lot of things going forward in the community.
Yeah, it's powerful using technology and the future. And children on the spectrum love technology.
Oh yeah.
Like my two kids just live in it.
Mine do too.
Yeah, well, the light bulb certainly went off when you've got my boy on the spectrum, and he's either he's got his phone or his iPad, and he's interactive on that. He's interactive on that way more than he is in a person-to-person, face-to-face context. So they learn, or they can certainly relate much more and better in a virtual or online environment. So let's just take it to the next level. Let's really create immersive environments like that they have more ability to interact in, and more ability to engage in therapy and education in. And do it on their terms, right? So,
Right.
so they can do it in whatever capacity, whatever extent they want to do, instead of here's your hour of therapy. Because the system is going to make you pay for an hour of therapy. These kids, no kids operate in hour increments, right? It's just you're going to get out of that hour, you're going to get 5 minutes, 10 minutes of benefit out of that, but the system makes you pay for an hour. How about we make a system that works with the needs of the kids instead of jamming the kids into the needs of the system, because that's what the system is. So, and that to me is one of the things that really resonated about our platform is you can use it as much as you like. You can use it as a primary tool, as a support tool. You can do it in whatever increments you like throughout the day or the week, whatever fits for your schedule and your child, and however they need it to work for them, instead of here's your scheduled time, here's your scheduled hour, let's do what we can. And then after that scheduled hour, it's, well, we'll get feedback to you whenever they get around to getting the feedback to you, instead of with our platform where all that feedback on the interaction and the data that we're gathering is getting analyzed immediately. It's getting uploaded to the cloud, and our artificial intelligence is analyzing that data for where they're meeting the milestones, where they need to improve, how they're proceeding through the module, and that gets fed back right away. So there's no inefficiencies there with the human component of analyzing therapy data and getting back. And whereas we can do that as they go, so we can have a nice consistent path through our modules. It's nice and efficient, and it's objective in the sense that here's all the big data that we're taking in, and we can actually use that evidence for evidence-based analytics for where they should go next, or what they should repeat, or what they need to work on. So that was another thing that resonated with me about how they can make that an efficient, effective process with the analytics of the data, because now the technology can do that. In a virtual reality environment, the data input that we can take is monstrous, and we can analyze that and feed that back in a real-time environment and just make it a more efficient, effective process.
What I also see, it gives you and your partnership with Alex great strength, is very similar to what gives the Autism Today Foundation strength in our partnership. And that's that I've got children, 10 and 12, right, earlier in age. Karen's children on the spectrum are around 30. So we're focused not on one period of life, but the entire transition of life. And you've got an age difference between Alex's kids and your kids. So as you start with the importance of early intervention and what you can do to help them get to their milestones, you don't lose focus on, well, what do we need at this age? What do we need at transitioning into adulthood? And how can we use what we've got to help that? And I think having both you and Alex on this platform is a great guide to where to take it to the next level.
It's really powerful. It's good to have that perspective. It really is. I wish I would have had somebody that was older than me, to see what the vision might be when I first started out. So I think it's really powerful to have that different perspective.
Well, I think your vision is fantastic. The industry needs that spot to go, to have access to the information, and one-stop spot to go. Because when I got my diagnosis, I think similar to a lot of parents around that time, is here's your diagnosis, here's a handful of brochures, figure it out. I guess that was how it worked. Like you're cast adrift, and then you're scrambling. Obviously you're in a major panic. Your life and the life of your child have just changed forever. Now you're planning, to the end of his life, not to the end of your life. So you want to do the right thing. You want to do all the resources available, but you don't know what they are. They just give you a bunch
There
of.
were 34 books when I started.
And
34.
So having a spot like Autism Today, where you can be directed to those resources, and we can be one of those resources. So you can actually go down in an efficient one-stop shop, find the answers, or find what questions to even ask, because you don't know what you don't know. So we can go somewhere and get that information, instead of this scattergun approach that we had, trying to see what was out there and what might work and what might not. And that was so frustrating. So just having that source that you guys are going to provide very, very helpful to the entire community.
Well, we love meeting people like you,
Yes.
like Alex, aligned parents like ourselves, where the love for the child and the passion for changing the world to make it better, to receive our children, is what is the driving force to making the world a better place. And I think that's how the world becomes better, year after year, generation after generation. People like yourself. So
Yes.
thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you, Bill.
I wish
Oh,
you all the best.
My pleasure. You know, we don't want to reinvent things, right? We just want to do it better, more efficiently, make it more accessible. You know, we just want to do a better job for these kids and their families. You know,
Faster.
as do you guys. Like we can all do a better job as a community to help these kids realize their potential.
Technology has evolved, it's changed. We need to use it to help our kids that are learning this new technology, you know. So you're doing a great job.
You
Thank you
are.
very much.
No, my
Thanks.
pleasure.
Very much.
Thanks for joining us at Autism Today.
Yes, thank
No,
you.
I'm honored to be a part of it, and
Honored to have you.
Very much.
and best of luck, and yeah, look forward to continuing on.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right.
thanks,
Thanks,
Bill.
you guys.